Yeah, I guess we'll do the...
Okay, so normally I don't...
We'll do the Kodansha one today, and I guess we can do the shitting on the floor one tomorrow. I guess that works. So, Red Joker. Why Japan hates their largest manga publisher. Let us see.
Okay, so normally I don't like making this sort of drama report kind of video, but this horrible news of mangaka abuse by Kodansha, one of Japan's largest manga publishers, has been all over Japanese social media and even news. I literally cannot believe
Who do we have
has
here?
been all over Japanese social media and even news.
Of course, Chibi's on it.
Literally cannot believe no one on the English side has even been talking about it, and I think you guys deserve to know. So basically, Akane Shimizu, the mangaka of Cells at Work, I'm sure you've heard of it before, it's super famous,
Code
just
Black
accused
was fun.
Kodansha of many things they did to her, particularly her editor. This includes completely ignoring all of her requests for assistance, causing her to grossly overwork, verbally and personally attacking her, deleting her name off the credits in Cells at Work spin-offs and justifying it, unkept promises, and ignoring her request for medical professional consultations to ensure her manga is scientifically correct, brushing her off by saying, it's just a manga. It doesn't have to be taken that seriously. A manga
That's the point of the manga.
company editor said this,
That's
by
the
the
point
way,
of the
and
manga.
ultimately causing her to almost take her own life. Now, I will go over these one by one, but do keep in mind that these are just allegations for the time being, although Kodansha has already admitted to all of it and apologized, alongside other mangakas speaking out on the horrible situation. So it is very likely true in my opinion, but just keep in mind that they are technically still allegations. Okay, so first we have the medical consultations. So in 2015, Shimizu Sensei debuted in Monthly Shonen Series, a pretty prestigious magazine with the manga Cells at Work. This
Great
is
series.
a magazine under the publisher Kodansha. Now, Cells at Work is basically a story that turns all the cells in a human body into anime characters and goes through their daily life and work. Due to the nature of the show, Shimizu Sensei wanted to have the entire story be scientifically accurate to what cells actually do in the human body. She was promised from the very beginning that Kodansha would provide a medical consultant to her for the manga. However, this came to be
And this isn't even that crazy of an idea, right? Like, if you, Akane Banashi, for example, like, the author of that has a consultant to make sure that, you know, everything going on there is accurate. A lot of shogi manga have consultants. Like, this is not an uncommon thing. Like, this is, if you're doing something where you want it to be accurate, like that's a very normal thing in the manga industry.
completely ignored, and even though she requested many times, her editor just completely ignored her requests. It was assumed that she would first draw the draft, and then a medical supervisor would correct any factual inaccuracies. But as we know now, this professional never existed, leading to Volume 1 being published as it is. Obviously, Shimizu Sensei, with no biology background, makes several mistakes in cell functions and biology, and these mistakes get harshly criticized by readers. Frustrated, Shimizu Sensei requests for medical supervision again, something she was initially promised, and this time was refused, with her editor directly telling her, and I quote, "It's just manga. Being sloppy and not taking it seriously is fine." Her manga editor said this to a mangaka doing manga out of passion in a manga publishing company. Shimizu Sensei, however, would not let this slide and started buying medical reference books at her own expense with her own money to ensure her cell functions are biologically accurate, while no medical supervision was ever given. She requests this several times over the next few years, but is always ignored or refused. This introduces a huge workload on her, because manga deadlines and mangaka work life is already a hell of its own. But having to read medical...
I wonder what made them want to do a biology manga with no biology background. I would love to know what got them interested in doing that.
books with no background and ensure all your facts are accurate is insane. The thing is, these accuracies played an integral part of not just making the manga, well, succeed, but also help many kids become interested in and learn cell biology and earned worldwide praise for it. Shimon Sakaguchi, a Nobel Prize winner in medicine, chose a Cells at Work manga to donate to the Nobel Museum in Stockholm as a keepsake.
Wow,
this is literally
that's cool.
the person who won a Nobel Prize through cell research. Many official medical institutes publicly praise and recommend cells at work for learning, including the Tokyo University of Pharmacy and the Niigata City Medical Association.
It's just a manga, though, doesn't? It's just a manga. I mean, I think Tolkien was a linguist and philologist, not a medieval historian. Yeah, but wasn't he also World War One? Yes, Tolkien. Well, yeah, World War One. War service. Tolkien war service. Second lieutenant in the British Army's 11th Service Battalion, Lancashire Fusiliers during World War One. Yes.
Also collaborating with Tokyo Endovascular Challenging Conference to produce teaching tools at med school. Moreover, many parents, Japanese med students, university pharmacy departments quote cells at work as their inspiration, with some footnotes even reaching med school exam level detail. This is the kind of stuff, the impact, that a leading manga publisher editor failed to see. And not just that, but degraded the mangaka for wanting to be accurate. It's so disrespectful to manga as an editor. But it only gets worse from here. Alongside the request for medical supervision, Shimizu-sensei also from the early stages requested professional assistance, because she was already overworked as fuck.
Again, another very... okay. A very normal thing in the manga industry.
Ignored. She had to resort to hiring a few of her former classmates to help her out. But even they weren't willing to do everything, and this could only cover so much. So she just constantly pulled all-nighters to finish chapters. Despite this, in 2016, some readers noticed her declining art quality in the manga and blamed her for over-relying on assistants. Now, again, this is technically not the reader's fault, because they didn't know what was going on in the background. Technically, you could say they're asses, but yeah. It was at this point that, again, to fix these issues, she requested for assistance so she could actually have a manageable workload. But her editor dismissed and criticized her, saying, "A person with your personality only knows how to blame others. No matter who you do it with, the end result will always be the same." Shimizu-sensei was already so stressed back in 2015 when having to deal with the medical books thing that she developed trichotillomania, a mental health condition that involves an irresistible recurrent urge to pull out one's own hair. But it was at this point that for the first time, she simply considered taking her own life by jumping in front of a train. Thankfully, she didn't. In 2017 and 2018, Shimizu-sensei continued to request for assistance, and was
this was
finally
10 years
promised
ago.
some in a formal meeting with the editorial department. But in the end, they gave her rookie aspiring manga artists instead of, professionally trained assistants. And finally, the straw that broke the camel's back was when her editor in 2018 demanded major story changes, telling Shimizu that a supervisor is not very happy with it, but didn't share why this so-called supervisor's reasons. Now, keep in mind, this supervisor never made any direct contact with Shimizu-sensei. This editor is just quoting this so-called supervisor's words. When Shimizu-sensei objected to these changes, this editor tells her that everything you do is unnecessary, and you don't have the ability to structure this any better. This finally broke Shimizu-sensei, as she was diagnosed with depression, and the manga of Cells at Work goes into hiatus. The fucked up thing is, at the time, the hiatus was explained by preparing a better serialization environment.
When was the anime for Cells at Work? Wait, so the anime didn't even come out for another year at this point? What?
With nobody actually knowing the truth. During the hiatus, Shimizu-sensei continuously asked for assistance, but they never came. So she got fed up and just suggested ending the series due to her mental strain. Shimizu-sensei felt like even spin-off creators got proper support while she didn't, and this essentially almost broke the last straw, as Shimizu-sensei tied a noose, but thankfully didn't do it. The series finally came back after 3 years in 2021 just to give an ending. After the manga ended, Shimizu-sensei finally spoke out to cut ties with this abusive editorial department. What did they do in return? They tampered with credits! In certain spin-offs of Cells at Work afterwards, they literally changed the credits from original work, Akane Shimizu, which is usually on every original manga/anime, to cooperation, Shimizu Production. But even worse, she found out recently that in the Cells at Work encyclopedia, her name was entirely removed and replaced with the serious editorial department's name. She only discovered this by herself 7 years after the book was published, with no one telling her. And when she contacted the department to ask about this, they told her that her name was removed so she wouldn't be blamed for errors given her dissatisfaction with the medical supervision. They removed the
lack
original
of
author's
supervision?
name from the credits for a reason like that. What's also pointed out by Japanese fans and very fucked up is, since they removed/changed her name in the credits, they most likely did not pay her the royalty fees that she should have gotten from these works. But this allegation was never directly made by Shimizu Sensei herself, just an interpretation by fans, albeit a pretty reliable one, since other mangaka have also mentioned this. After enduring for so long, Shimizu Sensei finally revealed everything in a long string of Twitter posts on July 1st, which is where we are now. In a few days, Kodansha, specifically the serious editorial department, issued a public apology to Shimizu Sensei, and basically admitted to everything she accused them of. To be specific, they claimed that they could not appropriately implement the establishment of a medical supervision system, or the construction
What do you mean?
of an appropriate art production environment.
You just get a guy. you just pay a guy. What?
For some spin-off works and media adaptation derivative publications after serialization, there were items for which the mangaka's prior confirmation was not appropriately carried out regarding credit notation, and that these deficiencies in the editorial department's management system and inappropriate handling caused Shimizu Sensei great stress.
Just fucking word salad.
They also claim that the editor in question has already been removed from Miss Shimizu's charge, and that they were in discussions with Shimizu Sensei to settle past circumstances, to which Shimizu Sensei also confirmed. What discussions? We don't know. Japanese fans are enraged at the entire situation at Kodansha, as it showed how fucked up one of the biggest manga publishers were. But they were also enraged at the apology letter because it didn't do anything. A random text apology from a big company means nothing realistically. But more importantly, people pointed out that this certain editor that made Shimizu Sensei's life hell was only removed from Shimizu Sensei's charge. Like, they didn't even fire or punish him/her or anything for this fucked up situation. What fueled fans' enragement towards Kodansha is the many other mangakas and creators who spoke up of their own situation after Shimizu Sensei made the post. For example, Kayata Maru, an artist of Yojo to Scoop to Magano, claimed that on the serious comicalization, yes, that same department as Shimizu Sensei, they didn't track overseas digital translated editions, and royalties went unpaid for over a year with no apology. Also, that they ignored her near hospitalization, weight loss situation from 2022 and just continued to force her on a half-year no hiatus schedule. Fujiya Izuko, the artist of Metal Slime wo Taoshimakutta, also claimed that her series Sayonara no Parade went unfinished because from 2016 to 2019 there were various troubles with that very same editorial department, and it became difficult environmentally and mentally to continue. Although they do mention that there are still good editors in the department. But even beyond Kodansha,
Sure,
Neji
even
Milo,
if the department in general is bad, there's always like one or two people who are not terrible. Like, everything has that.
Senso, on the magazine Shueisha Jump Plus, an editorial department repeatedly compared her to Shimizu Sensei, saying stuff like, "You are inferior compared to Shimizu Sensei."
What?
And when her first serialization ended, "At this rate, you'll be a loser." She says she later collapsed, vomited, and was hospitalized, and reflected that there was a tendency to corner artists mentally by forcing them into a mold, which fueled the speculation that it's not just Kodansha or Sirius. Many of the big manga publishers' editorial departments are fucked up. I'm not gonna go over every single accusation, but there really were a lot of mangakas and artists also coming out with their own horrible stories about the editors and publishing companies. After Shimizu Sensei's accusations came to light, other than the angry and sympathetic anime fans, many doctors and physicians also spoke out, praising her work for reaching that level of accuracy self-taught, and the knowledge in the manga quoted to be a high level of completeness, astonished that there wasn't a medical supervisor. That is what's happened now, and just for an inspirational mangaka who not just made a mega hot manga and anime, but inspired a generation of doctors, you'd think she'd get treated like royalty, but No. Like, it's all so fucked up. But even
Boruto.
morals aside, stuff
Boruto.
like not getting a medical supervisor, not caring about accuracy, being sloppy, this is stuff that would just directly hurt their business. These editors aren't just abusive, they're straight up incompetent. Imagine how much more they could have expanded on, honestly. It is overall a disgusting situation, and honestly, given Japanese work culture and their company culture, this will unfortunately probably still get buried over time.
Nothing's gonna
Other
happen.
cases of artists and mangakas being abused. But I still really hope this information reaches as many people on the English side as possible, as I've barely seen anyone talk about this. And I hope Japanese fans put enough pressure on these manga publishing companies to change something, because come on, these are the people who wrote stories loved by many weebs and changed lives. They absolutely deserve better. The whole situation is absolutely blowing up in Japan, with even news sites reporting it. Is it really hopium to hope something can change? If there's any good news in this situation, it's that at least Shimizu Sensei is in a pretty good situation right now, and has a very good
something.
relationship with her current editor, while publishing her new manga, Yellow Flame. To also be clear, this is a completely different situation from the section.
Speaking of flames and colors, I don't know if any of you are watching Black Torch. It is so fucking weird that Black Torch got an adaptation. Black Torch got cancelled after 15 chapters. I don't know how, like, we're gonna, like, the anime's gonna hit the end of the manga, like, before the end of the season. I don't know how it got an adaptation and what the fuck. Firstly, you don't adapt something that got 15 chapters. Secondly, what the fuck are you adapting? Yeah, no, like, let me show you. Sorry, 19 chapters. My bad, 19 chapters. Yeah, it got cancelled after 19 chapters due to initial low ratings or magazine restructuring. Yeah, it's so fucking weird. Well, no, the manga got cancelled like years ago. Actually, wait, sorry, when did it get cancelled? It got cancelled 8 years ago.
Sexual assault allegations. Shimizu Sensei.
But the weird thing about Black Torch is it also got a bunch of awards. Like, after it got cancelled, it got a bunch of awards. So it's this weird, real weird series.
Made against some of her relatives about a month ago. These are two wholly different situations. But goddamn, I really hope Shimizu Sensei has a happier future. The things she's been through are fucked up. Unlike my usual videos, this is still a very recent event. So if there are any big new updates, I'll post all of it in a pinned comment. I hope I've managed to inform you guys of this fucked up situation, and I hope Shimizu Sensei and all the other creators involved get the justice they deserve. Special thanks to Vicente Bugani and all my patrons and members for supporting me.
That's fun. Red Joker's always fun. What is this
My
one?
Patreon
Yeah. I know what that animation is.